In the vast emptiness of space, where the stars are scattered like shimmering dust across the darkness, Earth was nothing more than a speck, an almost inconsequential planet in the grand tapestry of the universe. But to the Galactic Federation of Alchemy, Earth represented a fresh, untouched resource in a galaxy where such treasures were increasingly rare. The Alchemy were a militaristic species, known across star systems for their advanced technology and strategic prowess in warfare. They prided themselves on their ability to conquer and assimilate any planet they desired. When their scouts reported back about a small, vibrant planet teeming with life and resources, the decision was unanimous. Earth would be their next target. As the Alchemy fleet approached Earth, their lead commander, General Zorvax, stood at the helm of the flagship, observing the blue and green orb through the view screen. His mandibles twitched in anticipation of an easy victory. The preliminary scans showed scattered technological signatures, none of which matched the sophistication of Alchemy tech. This would be a simple conquest, or so Zorvax thought. The Alchemy's first move was standard protocol. They dispatched a series of communication probes to initiate contact and assess the level of threat posed by the indigenous civilizations. The probes were designed to be non-threatening, capable of translating and transmitting Alchemy intentions of peaceful assimilation. However, Earth's response was not what they expected. Instead of a plea for mercy or a disorganized attempt at diplomacy, the first signals Earth sent back were military in nature. The humans, a resilient and apparently quite cunning species, had immediately treated the probes as potential threats. Within hours, the Alchemy learned that the humans had destroyed 3 of the probes with what appeared to be primitive yet effective missile technology. General Zorvax was perplexed. No species had ever dared to strike first against the Alchemy. His interest piqued. He ordered a full-scale analysis of human military capabilities. The results were surprising. Humans, despite their lack of unified global governance, had a formidable array of defense systems and a peculiar talent for rapid technological adaptation and improvisation. The human military forces, divided among various nation-states, were on high alert. Observations revealed intricate preparations for defense, ranging from satellite fortifications in space to naval fleets ready to defend coastal cities. It became clear to Zorvax that Earth was not going to be the straightforward conquest he had imagined. In an unprecedented move, Zorvax decided to attempt a second round of communications, this time directing his message to the most powerful human leaders. His message was clear: submit to the Alchemy or face annihilation. The human response was broadcast worldwide. The Alchemy fleet hovered just outside Earth's atmosphere, a dark menace against the backdrop of the stars. On board the flagship, General Zorvax reviewed the latest intelligence reports. Earth's defenses were robust, but they lacked the technological sophistication of the Alchemy. He was confident in his strategy. "Deploy the atmospheric disruptors," he commanded. "We'll disable their communications and surveillance systems first." As the disruptors activated, a wave of electromagnetic interference blanketed the planet. Satellite networks went dark, and ground-based radar installations flickered and died. In cities across the globe, confusion reigned as communication lines failed. On board the USS Pennsylvania, an American destroyer stationed in the Pacific, Captain Elaine Carter barked orders to her crew. "We're flying blind, people. Keep your eyes peeled and maintain radio silence. We don't know what they're planning next." Thousands of miles away in Moscow, General Anton Volkov of the Russian Armed Forces coordinated with NATO allies. "Our satellites are down," he said grimly, "but our ground forces are ready. Mobilize the anti-aircraft divisions. We must be prepared for anything." Above the Atlantic, the Alchemy fleet began their descent. Sleek, angular ships pierced the clouds, casting ominous shadows over the ocean below. From the flagship, Zorvax watched as his invasion force spread out, aiming for strategic targets across the globe. The first strike hit New York City. Alchemy drones descended, their plasma cannons unleashing destruction on the urban landscape. Buildings crumbled, and fires raged as people fled in terror. But the humans were not without their defenses. Anti-aircraft batteries, hastily mobilized, began to return fire. Missiles streaked skyward, intercepting several Alkari drones and sending them crashing to the ground. In Washington, D.C., President Thompson convened an emergency meeting with her top military advisors. "We need a coordinated response," she said, her voice steady despite the chaos unfolding around her. "Deploy the National Guard and initiate Operation Sky Shield. Every available fighter jet and missile defense system must be brought online." Far to the east, in the deserts of the Middle East, a different kind of battle was unfolding. Alkari ground troops, heavily armored and equipped with energy weapons, engaged human soldiers in brutal combat. Despite their advanced technology, the Alkari found themselves facing an unexpectedly fierce resistance. Human soldiers, utilizing guerrilla tactics honed over decades of conflict in the region, struck back with improvised explosive devices and relentless ambushes. In the skies over Europe, dogfights erupted between Alkari fighters and the combined air forces of NATO. The sleek, agile alien craft outmaneuvered the human jets, but the humans fought with a tenacity that caught the Alkari off guard. The battle raged over the continent, leaving trails of smoke and fire in its wake. Amidst the chaos, a group of scientists and engineers in Switzerland worked feverishly on a new weapon. Led by Dr. Maria Alvarez, a physicist with a background in electromagnetic theory, they had devised a plan to disrupt the Alkari's advanced technology. Their weapon, an experimental EMP cannon, was nearly ready for deployment. "We have to get this to the front lines," Dr. Alvarez said, her eyes alight with determination. "If we can disable their ships, we might just stand a chance." In the Pacific, Captain Carter received new orders. Her ship was to escort a convoy carrying the EMP cannon to a launch site in Hawaii. As the USS Pennsylvania cut through the waves, the crew remained on high alert. They knew the journey would be perilous, but they also knew the importance of their mission. The convoy came under attack as it neared Hawaii. Alkari fighters swooped down, their energy weapons strafing the ships below. The Pennsylvania's anti-aircraft guns roared to life, filling the sky with flak and tracer rounds. Several alien craft were hit, spiraling into the ocean in plumes of water and smoke. On the ground, human forces rallied around the launch site. Soldiers dug in, preparing for the onslaught they knew was coming. The EMP cannon was assembled and positioned. Finally, the EMP cannon was ready. Dr. Alvarez gave the signal, and the massive device hummed to life. A bright pulse of energy shot into the sky, spreading out in a wide arc. Alkari ships and drones faltered, their systems disrupted by the electromagnetic wave. Some crashed into the sea, while others drifted helplessly. The tide of battle began to turn. With their air support crippled, the Alkari ground forces found themselves vulnerable. Human troops, emboldened by the success of the EMP cannon, launched a counter-offensive. In a coordinated effort, they pushed back the invaders, reclaiming territory inch by hard-fought inch. General Zorvax, watching the unfolding disaster from his flagship, felt a surge of anger and frustration. He had underestimated these humans, and now his forces were paying the price. But he was not defeated yet. The Alkari were a resilient species, and they had faced setbacks before. "Prepare the orbital bombardment," he ordered. "We'll teach these humans the true meaning of fear." As the Alkari fleet repositioned itself, preparing for a devastating strike from orbit, the human forces regrouped and rearmed. They knew the battle was far from over, but they also knew they had dealt a significant blow to their enemy. In the calm before the storm, a sense of grim determination settled over the defenders of Earth. They had faced the first wave of the invasion and emerged stronger for it. Now they steeled themselves for the next phase of the conflict, ready to defend their home against an enemy that was learning, to its peril, that Earth was not an easy target. General Zorvax's command to initiate the orbital bombardment echoed through the Alkari flagship. The fleet's massive energy cannons aligned, their targets, major human cities. As the weapons charged, Earth's defenders braced for impact. In a hidden bunker deep within the Rockies, a team of military strategists led by General Samantha Collins monitored the unfolding situation. "They're preparing to bombard from orbit," Collins said, her voice tense. "We need to activate Project Aegis." Project Aegis, an experimental defense system, had been hastily completed as a last resort measure. Comprising a network of advanced anti-orbital missiles and high-powered lasers, It was Earth's best hope against the impending bombardment. "Launch all Aegis units," Collins ordered. Across the globe, hidden silos opened, and missiles roared into the sky. Ground-based lasers powered up, aiming at the Alkari ships. The first wave of Aegis missiles streaked toward the Alkari fleet. Explosions rocked the flagship as missiles found their targets. Several smaller ships were destroyed, and the flagship itself sustained significant damage. Zorvax, gripping the command console, ordered evasive maneuvers. On the ground, Dr. Alvarez and her team worked to recalibrate the EMP cannon for another shot, hoping to disrupt the Alkari's ability to fire. As the Aegis defenses engaged, she adjusted the settings for maximum output. "This has to work," she murmured. In the skies above Europe, human jets engaged Alkari fighters, buying precious time for the ground forces to regroup. Captain Carter's destroyer continued its valiant defense in the Pacific, intercepting more Alkari drones. The Alkari fleet, reeling from the unexpected resistance, struggled to maintain formation. Zorvax's frustration grew. "Fire the bombardment cannons!" he commanded. But just as the fleet prepared to fire, a second EMP pulse from Dr. Alvarez's cannon hit them, causing systems to short-circuit. In Moscow, General Volkov ordered a full-scale counterattack. "Now is our chance. Push them back." Russian and Allied forces surged forward, retaking positions and overwhelming disoriented Alkari troops. Zorvax, realizing the tide was turning, ordered a retreat. "We will return," he vowed, his eyes narrowing. "This is not over." As the Alkari ships withdrew, Earth's defenders breathed a collective sigh of relief. The battle had been won, but the war was far from over. Humans around the globe celebrated, but their leaders knew this was only a reprieve. Preparations began immediately for the next inevitable clash. In the aftermath, President Thompson addressed the world, her voice resolute. "We have shown the Alkari that Earth is not an easy target. We must remain vigilant, united, and prepared for the challenges ahead." In a quiet moment, Dr. Alvarez reflected on the battle's outcome. The humans had fought with ingenuity and determination, traits the Alkari had underestimated. She knew they had only won the first round, but she was confident that humanity's spirit would continue to defy the odds. General Collins, observing the preparations for future defenses, allowed herself a brief smile. They had faced the might of the Alkari and emerged stronger. The battle for Earth had only just begun, but the resolve of its defenders was unshakable. In the aftermath of the retreat, the Alkari regrouped on the outskirts of the solar system, their wounded pride fueling a desire for swift retaliation. General Zorvax held a council with his top advisors. "We underestimated them once. We won't make that mistake again. Initiate Project Helios." Project Helios was the Alkari's most devastating weapon, a massive energy beam capable of slicing through planets' surfaces. As the weapon charged, Zorvax planned the precise point of attack, targeting Earth's critical infrastructure. On Earth, intelligence intercepted faint signals indicating the Alkari's regrouping. In the Pentagon's war room, General Collins and her team analyzed the data. "They're planning something big," Collins stated. "We need to strike first." A bold plan took shape, a preemptive strike on the Alkari mothership. Utilizing stealth technology developed in secret, a specialized strike team was assembled. Lieutenant Sarah Moore, a seasoned operative with experience in covert operations, was chosen to lead the mission. Under cover of night, the strike team launched from a remote base, their cloaked shuttles slipping past Alkari sensors. Moore and her team infiltrated the mothership, moving with silent precision through the alien corridors. Back on Earth, Dr. Alvarez, working alongside General Volkov, monitored the mission's progress. "If they can disable Project Helios, we might stand a chance," Alvarez said. Inside the mothership, Moore's team encountered heavy resistance. Alkari soldiers, alerted to the intrusion, engaged them in intense firefights. Using advanced combat tactics and sheer determination, the human operatives pushed forward, reaching the core of the weapon system. Moore set the charges, her hands steady despite the chaos around her. "We have to time this perfectly," she said, her voice calm. The team synchronized their escape with the detonation countdown. As they raced back to their shuttle, explosions rocked the mothership. Alarms blared, and the structure trembled. Zorvax, realizing the impending disaster, ordered an emergency evacuation. The strike team barely made it out, their shuttle rocketing away as the mothership's core imploded. The destruction of Project Helios sent shockwaves through the Alkari fleet, causing disarray and confusion. On Earth, the relief was palpable. The successful mission bought humanity valuable time. General Collins wasted no time in reinforcing defenses and preparing for the next wave. Zorvax, aboard a surviving cruiser, seethed with rage. The humans had struck a significant blow, but he vowed they would pay. "Prepare all remaining forces," he commanded. "We will crush them." As the Alkari prepared for another assault, Earth's defenders stood ready, their resolve hardened by the recent victory. The fight was far from over, but with each battle, humanity's spirit grew stronger. General Zorvax's orders reverberated through the surviving Alkari fleet. With Project Helios destroyed, the focus shifted to overwhelming Earth's defenses through sheer force. The Alkari deployed all remaining ships, intending to launch simultaneous attacks on multiple continents. On Earth, intelligence reports confirmed the impending multi-pronged assault. General Collins, in coordination with global leaders, devised a defensive strategy. "We need to divide and conquer their forces," she said, marking critical points on a holographic map. "Concentrate our heaviest defenses where they're weakest." In the Pacific, Captain Carter's fleet prepared to intercept the Alkari ships aiming for North America. As the enemy fleet approached, Carter addressed her crew. "This is it, folks. We hold the line here or everything falls apart. Make every shot count." The ocean boiled with activity as the Alkari ships descended. Human naval forces engaged the invaders, missiles and plasma rounds lighting up the sky. The Pennsylvania's guns roared, taking down multiple enemy vessels. Meanwhile, over Europe, massive aerial battles unfolded. NATO forces, utilizing every jet and drone available, clashed with Alkari fighters. The skies were a chaotic swirl of explosions and tracer fire. On the ground, anti-aircraft batteries tracked and fired, creating a deadly web for the invaders. In Asia, a combined force of Chinese, Indian, and Japanese troops fortified key locations. They faced relentless waves of Alkari ground units, but with superior numbers and strategic ingenuity, they managed to hold their ground. In the Himalayas, specialized mountain units used the terrain to their advantage, ambushing Alkari troops in narrow passes. At a hidden base in Australia, Dr. Alvarez and her team worked on a last-ditch effort to turn the tide. A new version of the EMP cannon, enhanced with alien tech salvaged from the earlier battles. "We can't just defend," Alvarez said, adjusting the final components. "We need to disrupt their entire command structure." As the new EMP cannon was positioned, it became a focal point for Alkari attacks. Knowing its potential, the aliens launched a concentrated effort to destroy it. Human forces, anticipating this, created a fortified perimeter, using decoy installations to mislead the enemy. In Africa, guerrilla tactics wreaked havoc on Alkari supply lines. Local militias, familiar with the terrain, launched surprise attacks, disappearing into the wilderness before the aliens could mount a counter-offensive. This disruption slowed the Alkari advance, giving global forces time to regroup. Back in the Pacific, the battle intensified. Captain Carter's ship sustained heavy damage, but the crew's resilience kept them fighting. "We're not done yet," Carter yelled, as the Pennsylvania's final missiles struck a critical Alkari battleship, causing it to explode in a fiery cascade. In Europe, General Volkov coordinated a massive counterattack, using newly acquired intelligence to strike at vulnerable Alkari positions. The coordinated efforts pushed the invaders back, reclaiming lost territory and bolstering morale. The new EMP cannon, finally ready, fired a massive pulse. The energy wave spread across the globe, targeting Alkari ships and ground units alike. Systems short-circuited, and the once coordinated assault fell into disarray. Human forces seized the opportunity, pressing the advantage with relentless determination. As the Alkari fleet crumbled, Zorvax faced the grim reality of defeat. His forces, though technologically superior, had underestimated human tenacity and ingenuity. With his fleet in ruins and his command structure collapsing, Zorvax ordered a full retreat. On Earth, the sight of retreating alien ships brought a collective cheer. The battle had been fierce, the cost high, but humanity had endured. In the aftermath, leaders across the globe began planning the next steps, aware that vigilance and unity were key to securing the future. In the quiet moments after the battle, Dr. Alvarez looked out over the remnants of the battlefield, a sense of accomplishment tempered by the knowledge of what lay ahead. The fight had proven one thing above all: Earth was a force to be reckoned with, and its defenders were far from finished. General Zorvax's retreat marked a turning point. As the Alkari fleet withdrew, humanity seized the moment to regroup and fortify. The global response was swift and decisive. Nations pooled resources, repaired infrastructure, and enhanced defenses, ensuring they were prepared for any future threat. In the Pentagon, General Collins coordinated with world leaders via secure communication channels. "We've shown we can defend our planet," she said. "Now we need to ensure the Alkari never return." Dr. Alvarez, alongside her team, refined the EMP technology, integrating it into a global defense grid capable of rapid deployment. The system could now target and disable any incoming threat, creating a protective shield around Earth. In orbit, human engineers worked tirelessly to repurpose captured Alkari technology. New space stations and defense platforms were constructed, each armed with hybrid weaponry, combining human ingenuity and alien tech. Meanwhile, on the remnants of the Alkari fleet, Zorvax faced the consequences of his failed invasion. The Alkari High Command demanded answers, but the general, stripped of his authority, had none to offer. His failure became a cautionary tale within Alkari ranks, a stark reminder of human resilience. On Earth, reconstruction efforts accelerated. Cities were rebuilt, economies stabilized, and a newfound sense of unity emerged. Former rivals collaborated closely, fostering an unprecedented era of international cooperation. President Thompson addressed the world from the rebuilt White House. "We have faced a formidable enemy and emerged victorious." This victory was not just about survival. It was about showing that humanity, united, can overcome any challenge. Let this be a new dawn for our planet. In a secluded research facility, Dr. Alvarez and her team made another groundbreaking discovery: an Alkari navigation system. This technology held the key to faster-than-light travel. With it, humanity could explore the stars, taking the fight to the Alkari if necessary. But more importantly, expanding their horizons and ensuring they were never caught off guard again. As the first human-made starship equipped with FTL capabilities prepared for launch, Captain Carter, chosen to lead the mission, addressed her crew. "Today we take a step into the unknown. We do this not just for defense, but for the future of all humanity. We go to ensure our freedom and to seek new opportunities among the stars." The ship's engines roared to life, and as it ascended into space, the world watched in awe. This was not an end, but a beginning. Humanity, united and resilient, was ready to face whatever lay ahead, whether in defense of their home or the exploration of new frontiers. Earth stood strong, a testament to the indomitable spirit of its people, and a beacon of hope in the vast, dark expanse of the universe.